All right, take two. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming out. So my talk is about reimagining online deliberation. So why open source is critical when building civic infrastructure. So a little bit about me. My name is Samantha Shireman. I am the product manager for a platform called Frankly, which we'll talk more about. I'm within the Applied Social Media Lab within Harvard's Berkman Klein Center for Internet and Society. I've got my colleague Darius in the back as well, also with me within ASML. My background is in cognitive science. I like thinking about thinking. I like brains. Background in technology since the beginning of time. I think I have the relatively common millennial woman experience of learning HTML because my Neopet needed a really good web page. And then whiskey from a previous career path. So if anyone wants to nerd out about tax and trade bureau definitions of various distilled spirits in the US, let me know. I've been working in bridging and democracy work for about 7 years now, trying to help people communicate effectively. Most of that time was working for an organization called All Sides. So allsides.com works in media bias ratings and balanced news. And working there got me involved in the larger bridging field. There are a wide variety of organizations working to bridge divides in a variety of ways. And so I got to be involved with a lot of those organizations and a lot of those projects, which ultimately led me to where I am right now. I'm relatively new to the open source world. So learning how best to engage with the community, having a great time. I had already drunk the Kool-Aid. I was already a huge proponent of Creative Commons, but this is definitely my first time being the PM for an open source project, which is exciting. And I think that humans are pretty great problem solvers if given the right tools. And so I do my best to build those tools. So Frankly is the platform that I'm working on, and it is operated within Harvard's Applied Social Media Lab and directed by Harvard Law professor Lawrence Lessig. So he was the founder of Creative Commons and a tremendous legal activist who's done a ton of work in deliberation and promoting citizens' assemblies and things of that nature. So our vision with this project is to help build a world where the practice of constructive discourse is the norm. So where diverse perspectives catalyze innovative solutions rather than deepening divides. So we want to make this normal. We didn't start from scratch. Harvard actually acquired code from a proprietary platform. So I mentioned my previous role at All Sides. During my time there, I was the technical lead for a number of bridging events that took place on this platform that allowed us to do some critical things that we needed for those bridging events, which we'll get into. But the startup that created this platform then pivoted, as startups do. And so us and a bunch of these sort of strapped for cash nonprofits who were doing really important bridging work, who had come to rely on this platform, and then didn't really have a place to go. So then about 2 years after that happened, I was in a Citizens Assembly working group meeting that Larry Lessig is also a part of, and he mentioned that he'd actually convinced Harvard Law to purchase this platform in order to make it open source, and they were looking for a product manager to make it better. So that seemed right up my alley. So Frankly is an open source online video-based discourse platform. It's designed to facilitate constructive dialogue and collaborative decision-making within diverse groups. So that means a few things. One means that the discussion prompts are directly embedded into the conversation. So if you're having structured discourse, I imagine you've all had someone try to do something like this on Zoom, and they'll put a prompt in the chat and kind of send you to breakout rooms and cross their fingers that you actually stay on task. So instead of doing that, we have the discussion guide directly integrated into the experience. We've got algorithmic group matching. So instead of sending people randomly to breakouts or having to have a facilitator try to like manually place people in real time, We can have organizers specify registration questions. Participants will answer those registration questions, and then we will maximize diversity within those breakout rooms based on whatever diversity is relevant to the organizer, because they're setting their own questions. We've got participation nudges to help people actually participate relatively evenly within the events. So if someone isn't speaking up at all, at a certain point, they'll get a gentle nudge encouraging them to share their perspective. If someone is really taking over the conversation, they will also get a silent nudge to make sure they're leaving room for others. And we've got deliberative polling tools directly integrated into the platform. We've also got hostless facilitation options, which makes this much, much more scalable. So you do not need to have a facilitator in each and every room. The platform sort of serves the purpose of facilitation to enable the small groups to navigate their own topics. And it is open source. So we've got AGPL 3 to ensure that this can't be reproprietized. So what happened before can't happen again, and to ensure that it's transparent, adaptable, and accountable. So a little bit of a walkthrough. Happy to demo this later as well. But this is a community page on Frankly, and then these are some example templates. So this is where you would have the discussion guide. So this is one template that I put together on technology and society. So this is the agenda. We've got 2 minutes of introductions, 2 minutes of conversation agreements. We've got a poll in there, some suggestions so people can add input. You can add new agenda items and choose from these options. You can incorporate calls to action. So immediately before and immediately after the event, you can insert a survey. The survey is platform agnostic, so this can link out to a Google form or Qualtrics or a Typeform or whatever you like. And you can integrate URL parameters if you want to track who's actually submitted. And then you can specify what type of event you want, set the date and time, and go ahead and schedule it. And then a little bit of what it looks like when you're in the event. This is me alone with my camera off. So this is not, just imagine that you have a bunch of participants on the left here. But as you can see, that discussion prompt is directly embedded. As an admin, you can see who's in which breakout rooms. You can let the platform know when you're ready to move on to the next prompt. Once half the people in the breakout room press that next button, they'll move on. Let's see. Usually I just demo live. This is my first time doing I'm narrating a video. I don't know how I feel about it. You can check for technical recommendations. This is that talk timer that prompts you if you're speaking way more or way less. And of course, change your AV settings. And there's chat functionality and all of that. And then that survey. All right. So key use cases, anything within the structured dialogue realm and the group deliberation realm. So this is very broad. Think town halls, think HOA meetings, think your DAO governance structure. I'm going to be focusing for the rest of this talk on the deliberation side of things. So if we're thinking of this as infrastructure, specifically civic infrastructure, something that is going to help enable people to participate in democracy, that's very much in that deliberation realm. So I want to talk a bit about the current state of civic participation in the US, although most of this is not US centric, I don't think. We're seeing a lot of news addiction masquerading as political engagement. So people who are staying very, very informed from their specific sources to a kind of obsessive degree and feeling like that's what's actually keeping them engaged. We're seeing a lot of outrage bait. We're seeing a lot of extremism. We're seeing a lot of conspiracy theories. We're seeing a lot of people completely cutting out family members who have fallen prey to that extremism and those conspiracy theories and who seem to be living in a completely different reality. We're seeing a lot of heart-wrenching citizen journalism videos then interspersed with bubbly TikTok shop ads, which might not be a universal experience, but I do think it is a relatively common one, and it is like peak dystopia for me. What we could really be seeing more of is people actually attending town hall meetings, direct accountability from our representatives, good faith discussions with people that we disagree with, finding common ground and finding the ability to actually solve problems together where we do have common ground. So we're disconnected right now from from other people and also from the practice of solving problems together. So what is deliberation? Deliberation in this sense is a group process. It's a type of structured discourse where participants evaluate, challenge, and refine different ideas, for instance, policy recommendations, in order to arrive at a shared understanding of the problem and a collective decision on their preferred ways to solve that problem. So how do we go about developing this rather essential democratic skill? Number one, this is my framework for what I think broadly is necessary for civic participants. So if we're going to live in a thriving democracy, these are sort of the fundamental things the checks that we need to hit. So citizens need to have a basic understanding of the political system and current issues. So this takes the form of civic education, media literacy, and a balanced news diet. Number two, they need to engage with a wide range of people and a wide range of ideas. Partially, this is because intellectual insularity makes us susceptible to manipulation. We've seen what toxic polarization has done. We've seen the ramifications of where it's not just a I'm right, you're wrong, it's an I'm right and you're a monster. So this breeds extremism, this fractures our trust networks, this leads to dehumanization, violence, and genocide. So this is not good. But less radically, it also just leads to bad solutions. So if you're not engaging with other ideas, even if those ideas are wrong, people who disagree with you are going to pick apart your arguments. If you're not engaging with people who want to pick apart your arguments and actually find the flaws, you're not going to find the flaws yourself. This leads to weak policy and bad decisions. Number three, people need to feel like their voice matters. If people don't think that people are paying attention, or their opinion matters, or their vote matters, why are they going to bother to call their representative? Why are they going to go to a town hall meeting? Why are they going to bother signing a petition? So that's broad civic participation. Within the realm of deliberation specifically, you can sort of address those three things. So the first thing we talked about was that basic understanding. So within a specific deliberation, this takes the form of clear and balanced background materials put together by whoever is organizing that deliberation. The second thing, you need to engage with a broad range of perspectives. So that means that whoever is organizing needs to actually recruit properly, ideally a representative sample of the stakeholders, be that the citizenship or what have you. And then you need to have balanced representation in each of the discussion groups. And you need to actually have like polling tools and ways for people to see what the perspectives are and be able to weigh them effectively. And then for voice, making sure your voice your voice matters. You need an environment where people feel safe and empowered to speak their mind. They need nudges so that people are actually participating relatively equally and speaking up but not taking over. And you need buy-in from representatives. So that's civic participation. Now let's talk about infrastructure. So what makes something actually good infrastructure? Number one, it needs to be reliable. So it needs to work as intended. It needs to continue to, there needs to be trust that it's going to continue to exist, and it needs to be resilient and adaptable to changing conditions. It needs to be scalable. So it needs to be able to grow to meet demand. It needs to have an efficient use of resources. There needs to be a flexible design so that it can change and adapt and expand to new use cases without needing a complete overhaul. I missed number 3. Accessible. There we go. So it needs to be cost effective, and it needs to be inclusive and have an intuitive design. So intuitive design and inclusive design in this sense is not just sort of what we typically think of in terms of accessibility. Obviously, things need to be like colorblind compatible and screen reader compatible. But I'm also talking about this needs to work for like an 80-year-old person in rural America who has terrible internet and a cell phone and like no laptop. So this is inclusive design in that broader sense of we need to be thinking of how does this infrastructure meet the needs of as many people as possible. So how do we make deliberation then viable infrastructure? How do we make it reliable, scalable, and accessible? And this is where I'm going to preach to the choir, because I think the best way to do this is to make it open source. So why it needs to be open source is that's going to make it way more reliable, right? So this ensures that this project has longevity beyond any given institution, right? If Harvard decided tomorrow that we actually can no longer work on this project, that's a bummer, and that would require some changes, obviously. That's also not going to happen. But if that's the worst case scenario, this code base is already out there. People have already forked it. People are already using it. It can't go away at this point. It is scalable because community involvement actually encourages us to build it flexibly, and it means that when there are expanding needs or use cases that we haven't considered, other people can step in to make sure that this meets the needs of their communities. Ideally, by helping to improve the platform for everybody, but obviously if they want to make their own version to meet their very bespoke use case, that also works. And it makes it much more likely to be accessible. So it ensures that it remains cost effective and can't be proprietized. And it helps to ensure that we're building with those broad needs in mind. So open source is the best way to ensure longevity and provide the scrutinizability, $10 word, necessary to help legitimize public discourse. So the current status of this project is that it is open source, AGPL3, and we are in closed beta. So it is already in active use. We have, I think, about 30 beta communities who have joined. Nothing has exploded yet, which is exciting. We are limiting access. Not by that much. Mostly people just need to email us and ask nicely. But we do want to make sure that it's clear that we're sort of heads down working on improving this rather than bringing on a million users right away. It is under active development, and we are very much seeking contributors, seeking people who want to help. So the next milestone is going to be to transition out of closed beta. So tech stack, this is a Flutter-based app. We are relying on GCP and Firestore for the back end. We're using Agora Video API currently. We're using Cloudinary, Mux, and SendGrid. It's on GitHub. It has a public roadmap on GitHub as well, which I'm happy to walk through. And we've got an AGPL 3.0 license. You might notice that there are some SaaS things in this tech stack. And if that makes you mad, because this is an open source project and shouldn't have this much reliance on SaaS, you could help us fix that. So we would love your help. Big things or small things. Some big things, we want to implement real-time captions, which would be a huge boon for accessibility. We want to implement screen sharing. We would love to decrease reliance on some of those SaaS options and make this way more flexible. And then little things. So if you want to check out any open bug fixes, some of them are really tiny. actually implement account deletion, help make our documentation better and actually improve the developer experience, we would love to have you. You would be in really great company. We've got contributors right now who are very active in the democracy space. So our one of my favorite bragging rights is that our first contribution was from Audrey Tang, who's the cyber ambassador to Taiwan and a fantastic software engineer and advocate for citizens' assemblies and deliberative processes. So she and others within vTaiwan have made several contributions now, including a huge one of internationalization. So the platform can now be translated between English, Spanish, traditional Chinese, and simplified Chinese. So would love to expand that to more languages. And really importantly is that people will actually use this. We've already got several cities and states interested in potentially running a pilot here once we've gotten some of these boxes checked off, and of course these smaller communities already using it for bridging work or just within their organizational structures. So this would be like a chance to actually build something that can help make the world better. So if you are interested in getting involved, you can shoot us an email. I put my direct email on there if you have specific questions, but I will say that the team email is going to get a response a lot faster. And then we've got our public roadmap available if you're interested in seeing what we have slated, what we're prioritizing. If you see something that's relatively far down in the backlog and you're like, that should be a much higher priority, help us out. And then the want to help is a good place to get started. It's just our pinned GitHub issue that has links to our documentation and the roadmap and some info about what all of our different labels mean and stuff like that. So that's a good starting place. And I was thinking that this talk was too long and I had too many slides, but I must have talked quick because we have time. So if there are any questions or you want me to dive into anything else, let me know. Milo. It was, yeah. We want to make it. Yes. So the question was about the talk timer within the platform. So let's see. Let me go ahead. Actually, I want to know how smart it is. Yes. Mm-hmm. How quickly can I turn off the camera? There we go. Oh no. Okay, so the talk timer right here, it's sort of a little odometer design. This was in the previous platform. We definitely want to make it better and cooler. I see it as kind of the first of what could be several participatory nudges. But what it does is two things. So one, there's this blue, green, red sort of color scale. And so actually, I'll talk about the middle part first. The middle part is just a total count of the amount of time that you've spoken in a given event. So it'll just continue counting up sort of whenever you have the microphone. That honestly has been more of a distraction than anything else. So I think that part will probably omit in the redesign, but having that information of how long someone has spoken allows us to then divide that by the number of participants in the room to get a proportionate amount, a proportionate metric of how much they've been speaking compared to the other participants. And so that determines sort of where this arrow falls on the blue, green, red. So green means you're taking up your proportionate amount of time, and then it'll hit a certain threshold in the blue section. where it will then encourage you to make your perspective heard. And then in the red side of things, I think there's a threshold, but more importantly, if you've been speaking for 2 minutes straight without talking, it will then give you a prompt to make sure you're leaving room for others. Yeah, so it will only be counting one participant at a time. That's why it's been a little bit of a distraction, because if you start talking and then you stop talking but nobody else starts talking, it will continue counting up for you, which doesn't change the proportionate metric that much, but does make people mad. Oh, yeah, that we haven't really considered. This has mostly been for environments where you can't have people together in person. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point. That would definitely be something to think through. Yeah. Totally. Yes. So a couple of things there. For one thing, we see ourselves very much as part of an ecosystem of tools for this purpose. So we are not planning on building out our own sense making tools, because there are like several other folks doing that really well, increasingly well. So what we're working on right now is breakout room recordings. So right now the system can record for like a hosted event if everyone is in the same room. But for those scalable events where you're sending people into those balanced breakout rooms, we need to be able to allow organizers to export recordings of those events. So that's in progress right now. Once that's exportable, then people could plug it into tools like MIT's Cortico or Google Jigsaw's SenseMaker, Talk to the City. There are a variety of folks with really interesting sense-making tools. I want to make sure that we can that people can slot frankly into their deliberative process, the process that they're interested in having. So I think the emphasis is going to be on making sure that organizers could easily integrate with a variety of sense-making tools, but not like forcing them to use one specific one. I like you. I'm seeing a lot of nodding. I feel very supported. I'm so glad. Yes. Yeah. Uh, let's. Yeah. Thank you, Darius. So the question was, who are the organizations who are already using this and who've already adopted it? So as far as folks who have joined the beta platform, and I can't speak to how much they're directly using it within their organizations yet. I think a lot of folks are running sort of tests and pilots. Honestly, a lot of people are waiting for those breakout recordings to be ready. But Unify America is a great example, because they're both a beta client and also very close collaborators. So they do a ton of work in citizen deliberation and citizens' assemblies. So we've got them utilizing Frankly and planning to utilize Frankly for a lot of their efforts, and also collaborating with us in the code base and helping us build things out. And then we've got a variety of bridging organizations who were previously using the proprietary platform. So Living Room Conversations is a great example of that. The Great Reset the National Institute for Civil Discourse out of University of Arizona, and a few others. Yeah. In the back.
Purchasing a proprietary product for the purpose of making it a GPL is an unusual act.
I would say so.
And I would love to hear more about it. Did you acquire the company? Was it an acquisition or just a source code license? And tell a little bit about that story and how you successfully convinced people to pull that off.
Yeah. Okay. So the question was, how in the heck did we convince Harvard to purchase a proprietary platform in order to make it open source? So unfortunately, this was before I joined the team, because I only joined the team once this was already happening. Right. That's why I joined the team. But I'm with you. I would have loved to be in those rooms. So a little bit about the acquisition. We did not acquire the company. We acquired the code base. So the code base was developed by Lightning Rod Labs. So they very much still exist, but we purchased the code. We did not purchase the name. So this is a new name, new branding, new repo.
License? Do they still have a proprietary license or
No.
exclusivity?
I'm not sure on the legalities of that, but the proprietary platform no longer exists. Yeah. And then as far as how they were convinced, Larry Lessig is very persuasive. And I would have loved to be in that room. Any other questions? Yes.
Two unrelated questions. Do you have any outside entities that you know are using the AGPL, service on their own, separate of you?
Mm.
And what is kind of your plan to also grow that?
So also what?
Also to grow it being having independent usages of the platform itself, as opposed to just using your service.
Yeah. Are you talking about folks who are self-hosting or folks who've forked it and made different versions of it? Either? Okay, cool. Yeah. So, I mean, we very much are maintaining both the hosted version and the version that could be self-hosted. It's the same code base, so we are maintaining it what we have on the repo is what we have in production, and also the version that people can self-host. We've got a couple of folks forking. We just had a fork from Shire, which is an organization working with the Scottish government to put together a deliberative process for them. So Shire is founded by Liz Berry, who was one of the founders of Polis, which is an open source, asynchronous deliberative polling platform, which I think is a very compatible member of the ecosystem alongside us. So Shire has a fork of both Polis and Frankly that they're tinkering with to put together that process. So that's been an exciting development. And we're not doing anything specific for them other than the fact that they told us, hey, this part of your documentation is confusing. And we were like, hey, thanks. And then we fixed it. And vTaiwan, I'm not sure if they have a separate fork. They probably do, but they did put together a bunch of documentation for how to use Frankly within a vTaiwan deliberative process. And so I found their knowledge base, which is in Chinese, which is so cool to just see that people are already doing things that we're not even involved with. We're seeing the seeds that we're planting actually growing into new and surprising and innovative things. So I'm excited to see that continue. But we definitely also want to prioritize the hosted version of it, which is also free. And just because a lot of the organizations using this would not know what you even mean by self-hosting. So part of making it accessible and widespread and something that that people can actually use at the scale that we are envisioning means we need to have a both and solution. Yes.
With the funding
Yeah, great question. So right now, oh, sorry, thank you. So the question was what the funding structure is and how sustainable that is. Yeah. Uh, it is a project within Harvard's Applied Social Media Lab. So ASML has its own private funding. It was a gift grant for 2 years, or just a gift, not a grant, I believe. I'm relatively new to academia, so don't quote me on any of the specifics here. But ASML had 2 years of funding to build technology for the public interest and very few guardrails on that. So we are funded through that initial gift for at least one more year. And then we are seeking out additional grants to be able to maintain our core team. This is one of those things where it's like, okay, even the worst case scenario right now is a heck of a lot better than where we were a year ago. So we have a lot of interested people and potential grant prospects that I don't think I can speak directly to, but there is a lot of interest because people are, for some reason, kind of interested in funding democracy right now. But even if that doesn't pull through, I think someone else will pick up the baton. But we're definitely hoping to keep it for a while longer. It could also potentially spin off into a separate nonprofit. Larry's done that with other projects before. Any other questions? Amazing. Darius, is there any technical stuff that I left out that would be relevant?
No, but if people have technical questions about it, you can find me and I can do my best to answer. I'm not an active dev on the project anymore, but I'm listed. So.
Cool.
I mean,
Yeah.
is there concern about Dart being the primary language?
Yeah. So from what I have heard from the engineers who've worked on this, Dart is pretty readable and people end up liking it once they kind of get used to it. The aspect that they don't like is the functions. Let's see. Yes, this one right here. This is definitely a big DevX thing that we want to improve. So yes, the cloud functions are currently in Dart to JS, I guess, and people very much want them to be in TypeScript. So that will happen. And if anyone wants that to happen faster, you're welcome.
We went with Flutter because of the cross-platform mobile application building side of it, and Flutter is unfortunately tied to Dart. Picking the framework pegged us to, well, we didn't pick the framework, it was what was written originally.
It was already Flutter, yes.
We considered refactoring and decided against it, even though in my heart of hearts, I really wanted to.
I will say the engineers that have sort of joined the Frankly team and started working on it, one of them is very much a Flutter engineer. So if anyone has Flutter questions and is interested in contributing, Kathy Kashian on here is extremely helpful and loves teaching. So anyone with questions, please ask in the GitHub. And then for the folks who didn't come in with Flutter knowledge, I think they mostly ended up actually enjoying it more than they expected. So it's been pretty nice to work with. All right. Beautiful. Well, I think that is pretty much time. I guess last call if there's one more question. Cool. Thank you so much.